Et voilà Matheson. Son tir sur le poteau. Slavkovski tire sur le poteau. Ça fait 2 fois. Voilà Hudson. Coffee a blitz.
It's Artur Shilovs and the Pittsburgh Penguins against Jakub Dobeš and the Montreal Canadiens. Jake Evans out with an injury, moved to injured reserve. Samuel Blais called up to the big roster, finally makes his debut for the Canadiens after a cup of coffee in Toronto and playing 9 games in Laval. Phillip Danault will not play for the Canadiens until Tuesday. Crosby still looking to tie or break Mario's record. Dobeš 12-5-2, 291 goals against average, 893 save percentage. Meanwhile, Shilovs sitting at 4-5-6 with a 326 goals against average and an 890 save percentage. The Montreal Canadiens get out to a good start in this one. They get a couple of chances on net early, but it's not long until they get themselves into penalty trouble. Noah Dobson throws the puck over the glass, ends up taking a delay of game penalty. Penguins go to the power play, but Dobeš makes the saves when he needs to on the power play. The Canadiens kill it off, and shortly after the penalty expires, it's the second line of Oliver Kapanen, Yuri Slavkovski, and Ivan Demidov who team up on a great play. Ivan Demidov and Arbor Xhekaj team up to win a board battle. Heads up pass by Demidov across to Slavkovski with a one-touch pass back across the ice to Kapanen. Kapanen one-times it right by Shilovs. It's a great-looking goal. Slavkovski's offensive touch is just continuing to impress. It's another point for both Demidov and Kapanen. Great start for the Montreal Canadiens. But after that, the Canadiens seemed to lose focus. They had a good start, but the Pens put multiple shots on net. The Canadiens are scrambling in their own end. The puck comes back out to the point, and guess who it is? Sidney Crosby deflects one by Jakub Dobeš. He ties Mario Lemieux's career record for points for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that puts him at 1,723 career points. Just a crazy, crazy number. It's his 20th goal of the season. That makes it his 18th 20-goal season of his career. 7th most all time. Just wild. Now, Arbor Xhekaj ends up drawing a tripping penalty on Letang. The Canadiens miss a couple of chances on the power play, and it seems like the special teams battle is really what's going to be deciding in this one. Pittsburgh makes a great in-period adjustment for the second part of this one, and they start throwing shots towards the net. Dobeš is just swimming around in his crease, and a few seconds later, Engstrom ends up taking a penalty. The Penguins get their first chance on the power play. And early on in the power play, Josh Anderson gets sprung on a breakaway by Nick Suzuki. He has a chance for a second shorthanded goal in as many days against the Penguins, but unfortunately for Anderson, Shilov slides across, makes a great save, and what happens? The Penguins come down the other way. It happens so often. Great chance missed at one end, and then a chance buried on the other end. A point shot from Sidney Crosby goes through. The rebound comes out in front to Raquel. Raquel is right there, whacks it home. Crosby ends up getting the assist, his 1,724th career point. He surpasses Mario Lemieux for the all-time lead in points among Pittsburgh Penguins. He finds himself in 8th place among all players, ahead of Lemieux, ahead of Ovechkin. Now he's just chasing down Steve Yzerman and Marcel Zion. And both of those guys could be within reach this season. It'll be really close for Dion, but I anticipate he'll pass Yzerman this year. The Habs got out to a good start, killed off the first Penguins power play. They looked on top of things. They got an early goal. They got out to a lead, but then the wheels fell off for the remainder of the period. The Habs allowed a quick response goal by the Penguins, and then the Penguins just took it to them. Montreal didn't adjust for the Penguins' forecheck. They couldn't capitalize on their own power play chance. Pittsburgh did. Pittsburgh ended up getting a second goal. Montreal just kind of hung out Dobeš to dry for the remainder of the period. It wasn't a terrible effort overall, but they were generally outchanced by the Penguins, both in quality and quantity. Pittsburgh had quite the hefty advantage of shots in the first period, and they went into the intermission outshooting the Canadiens something like 15-6. Well, Montreal knows they have to come out in the second period and have a stronger effort. And to their credit, it's another strong start to the period by the Montreal Canadiens. They hold the Penguins completely in check. They control play, and they end up getting the equalizer. It's Slavkovski, Demidov, and Kapanen striking again. Another great setup by Slavkovski. His playmaking is unreal lately, and Demidov utilized his lethal shot to his advantage. He draws the Canadiens even. They get it back to 2-2. And this line was Montreal's strongest on the night, bar none, not even close, no contest. And for the first 10 minutes, Montreal takes it to the Penguins. They outshoot the Penguins 7-1. Montreal's drawn back even in shots, but it's about halfway into the second period, about 10 minutes in, that the Penguins seem to make another adjustment. And this is where Marty seems to really struggle with his coaching, is He can make adjustments in the intermission, but when it comes to in-period adjustment, the Canadiens can often just find themselves with their pants down and get completely caught off guard. Pittsburgh adjusts what they're doing. Despite the fact that both teams are playing 2 games in 2 nights on travel, the Penguins end up outshooting the Canadiens 13-1 in the second half of the period. Achari ends up being given way too much space and he just picks a corner on Dolbesch. I really would have liked for Arbor Xhekaj in this play to apply a little bit more pressure defensively and to interfere with the shot attempt, because as it was, he kind of just let Achari do exactly what he wanted on the play. He didn't move in close enough. Achari is a right-handed shot coming down the left wing. Xhekaj has the angle on him. He can close, he can get his body and stick in front. Unfortunately, too much space. He picks a corner on Dolbesch, puts the Penguins back up ahead. And you look at the shots at that point, they're only 17-15. But for the rest of the period, Pittsburgh is just throwing shots on net over and over and over. Dolbesch ends up making an incredible diving save. There's a huge melee in front of the net. And look closely as one of the linesmen gets his knee absolutely wrecked, breaking it up. Brutal injury. You can tell he's not coming back to this game. So we're down to 2 refs and 1 linesman sharing the duty. So we're missing a couple of eyes out there. And yet again, that save by Dolbesch, unreal. They didn't even really catch it on the RDS broadcast, but if you look at that replay, good lord, one of the saves of the year for the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal makes it into the second intermission, only down by a goal. They started strong. They were up 7-1 in shots, and then Pittsburgh flipped the script halfway through, outshooting Montreal 13-1 in the second half of the period. Montreal just doesn't seem to be able to make those in-period adjustments. They had 2 straight periods with good starts. The Penguins made adjustments halfway through, and it really just gave Montreal fits. So the Habs go into the third, trailing by a goal against a team that has struggled massively in the third period. We know what's happened to the Penguins lately in the third period. What's Montreal going to do? It's another good start for the Canadiens. They get chances early, and just 4 minutes in, it's Samuel Blais stick handling towards the net. Kind of a lucky play. The puck comes off of his stick and goes right to Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson walks in, puts it onto his backhand, flips it into the net, all while Beck is kind of falling into Shilovs. You think maybe the Penguins are going to challenge this one, but when you look at the replay, it's not really conclusive. It kind of looks like Wotherspoon kind of initiated the contact with Beck. Either way, the Penguins replay coaches and coaching staff did not have the faith to risk taking a delay of game penalty here, so they don't challenge it. The goal stands. It's 3-3. Montreal keeps pressing for a little while. They get multiple good chances early in the period, and the Canadiens go to the power play, and they do have their chances, but it's just exploding stick after exploding stick. Ivan Demidov's stick explodes in his hand on a one-timer. Juraj Slafkovsky misses the net wide. Cole Caulfield has his chance for a one-timer. His stick explodes. It's brutal luck for the Canadiens. These are grade A chances and they don't even result in a shot on goal. But the Penguins survive the Montreal Canadiens power play. And about halfway into the period, Owen Beck unfortunately ends up taking a penalty behind the net. He turns it over. He ends up trying to correct the error. He gets his stick in the hands of the Penguins forward, trying to cover up his mistake. Takes a penalty. Penguins go to the power play, and this is where things really start to change. The Penguins are just ripping shots over and over. So many of them end up blocked or going just wide, but it's a shooting gallery, and the Penguins are just directing everything that they can to the net. Somehow, barely anything is going on net, but these are dangerous looking chances. Dolbesch has to be sharp, and he plays a really strong game. He gave up 3 goals tonight, but Jakub Dolbesch was just incredibly solid in net for the Montreal Canadiens. He made saves when he needed to. A couple of goals beat him, but you can't blame him for any of them. They were deflection shots, they were rebounds in close. He was really sharp. He made some terrific saves. He played a good game. He was by no means the reason why the Canadiens weren't winning at this point, but great effort by Dolbesch. And we spoke earlier about the referees missing a couple of eyes. Well, I don't know, because there is clearly a referee looking right at this last play here, but Joel Veleno gets completely destroyed. And somehow the referees rule this was accidental contact by St. Ivany. I mean, I don't know. I look at the replay and I see a guy just laying Veleno out for a hit. Elbow to the chest, shoulder to the head. Veleno knocked right on the ground. You can see the guy's following through on the check and everything. I don't see how you call that accidental contact. No penalties called. We end up reaching the end of regulation, still tied at 3. We go to overtime. But the Habs earn at least 1 point on the second half of a back-to-back on travel. It's never a bad result. They've earned at least 3 of 4 at this point. Now, can they get that extra point? Can they go 4 for 4? Overtime, completely dominated by the Montreal Canadiens. Numerous high-danger chances by the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, Suzuki tries to set up Hudson at one point. Hudson then makes a great move, frees himself from the defender, walks out in front of Shilovs, but he can't really get a shot on net, and the Canadiens just hit post after post after post at this point. Mike Matheson blasts a shot off the post. Juraj Slafkovsky battles hard for the puck, earns a really hard-fought breakaway, comes in down the middle of the ice, moving to his left. He rips one off the post. Then, right before the end of overtime, Cole Caulfield, he rips a one-timer off the post. It's 3 posts in 3 minutes in overtime for the Canadiens, and now we're going to a shootout, or basically just a coin toss. I hate shootouts. I want to get rid of them. I'd rather both teams just get a point and a tie. We start the shootout. Hayes has the first shot for the Penguins. He comes in down the left side, works it to the center, slides it over the right arm of Dobesh, 1-0 for the Penguins. Up first for Montreal, Alexandre Texier, but he loses control of the puck. He can't even get a shot on net. No goal. Second shooter for the Penguins, Sidney Crosby. Jakub Dobesh outweights him, makes a nice save with the glove. Still 1-0 for the Penguins. Second shooter for Montreal, Cole Caulfield, comes in down the right side, as he always does, moves to his left, waits, sees the 5-hole open, fires it in between the legs. It's 1-1. Third shooter for Pittsburgh, Ricard Raquel, comes right to left, waits. Dobesh commits, Raquel easily just walks by him, fires it home, 2-1 for the Penguins. Last shooter for the Canadiens, Nick Suzuki. He's been so poor in shootouts. I don't know if Marty St. Louis even knows that Nick Suzuki struggles in shootouts, but I don't think Suzuki scored a shootout goal in over a calendar year at this point. I mean, I cannot remember the last time Nick Suzuki scored in a shootout. He comes in, he gets stoned by Shilovs, no goal for Suzuki, and the Montreal Canadiens, unfortunately, lose in shootout. Final score, 4-3, Pittsburgh. The Montreal Canadiens played well enough to win, they played well enough to get to overtime, and in OT they should have won. The Penguins held on, they made it to the coin toss that the shootout is, and they earned the extra point. But all things considered, not a terrible result. I mean, the Habs are missing their second, third, and fourth line centers from the start of the season. Newhook's out, Doc is out, Evans is out. Reinforcements finally on the way. Phillip Danault coming in against Boston. Doc should be back really soon. We're inching closer to the returns of Laine, Goulet, Newhook. Hopefully Evans isn't out for too long either, but the Habs lose. Crosby sets the record. The Canadiens still manage to get a point, and we move on to Tuesday night in Boston for the second of 7 consecutive road games. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. Check out the Discord server. The link is in the description below, and have a great night, guys.